Hello everybody, welcome back once again to another video, and as always I would like to talk about some news. Now, this isn't really news for se, but this is more just something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Um, and that would be basically cell phones. Um, Mostly modular cell phones. And so basically, for those of you who don't know what a modular cell phone is, it is basically they sell you the motherboard, ultimately. Just like how you build a PC, you have to buy the motherboard, the CPU, the RAM, everything. Hard drive, graphic card, optical drive, if you still use one of those, power supply, and everything. So for a phone, if modular cell phones become a thing, you'll have to buy the motherboard, the CPU, the battery, everything. And this may even end up being more expensive than normal smartphones. But it'd be highly flexible. Professional photographers could have great cameras on there and they don't have to wait for like LG or Samsung to come out with a new smartphone and hope that it has a good camera. And yeah, I get that if you're a professional photographer, you probably won't be using a smartphone for your camera. You'll actually carry around a fairly good camera or a very good camera, but you'll probably be saving that to an SD card. So you can have a full-size SD card reader if you want to instead of just micro SD. This way, you can look at your pictures in a different way. You can edit your pictures on the fly. You can post them on social media if that's your thing. And really, I believe modular cell phones are going to I know that they're going to be a thing. I mean, Google has their project Aura, that's a modular cell phone. But what I'm worried about is pricing. And when you buy Aura, is it going to come with is it going to come with all the components you need for it to be a working smartphone? Now, I'm assuming that CPU, RAM, and possibly even storage will all be in one block. So I'm not too worried about that. Now, okay, I take back what I said. I don't think storage would be held in the same block as the CPU. It may be, but I hope it's not. So how you should do this, how you should go about this is keeping the CPU and RAM in one block. And I have a feeling that's what they're going to do. And then the battery is going to be its own block. I know that. Then storage can be its own block. Then the camera has its own block. Everything else will have its own block. CPU, RAM will be one block. Storage will be one block. Battery will be a block. Cameras will be a block. And card readers will be a block. But what I'm worried about is like motherboards. Like if they're selling you the motherboard, then okay, think of it this way. Intel's Skylake processors run on the LGA 1151 socket. But before Skylake, their 6th gen processors, their 5th gen Haswell E ran on LGA 2011. So these two sockets are not interchangeable. Just like LGA 1155 and LGA 1151 isn't interchangeable. So I'm worried that they're going to eventually run out of bandwidth on these things. Now, phone blocks, they sound like a great idea to make phones last longer, and then when new hardware comes out, you could just pay like $50 and swap out your storage and put in more storage. Or if you're like a movie freak or just someone who really likes to have a ton of things on their phone, like literally duplicate your computer's hard drive onto your phone, which if you could do that with like, I'm pretty sure most computers run on like a terabyte hard drive. If you have a phone with a terabyte of storage, tell me what phone it is. But anyways, I really want to know, like what I want to know is like we really need to future proof these motherboards. We really need to give them all the sockets much more bandwidth than they will ever need. And by ever, I mean for a good 5 to 10 years. Because I expect these people will be using these phone blocks. I expect it to be very good, and I expect them to appeal to people like me. And I know that when they come out, I'm probably going to jump on it, and I'm probably going to buy one. Because I love building my own computers. This is why I don't really game on consoles too much, is because I get joy from building computers. That's what I like to do. I like to modify my computer, like I like to change out certain parts. I like to add parts, and I've already added, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to my PC. And I've replaced, like, I think only one part. Yeah, one part. I've only replaced one part. And that was the CPU. Shut up! Sorry, that was my phone. And I've replaced the CPU cooler. I was just using the stock one. I had to choose between the stock cooler or getting a like a bigger SSD. Or not a bigger. I had to choose between getting a better cooler or keeping the stock one and getting an SSD. And I chose getting an SSD because I was like, alright, my budget's so thin that I'll just take what's left of it after getting the SSD, which I got a 500 gigabyte one, by the way. And I just took that rest of the budget, and well, I didn't save it, but I eventually did get a Cooler Master CPU cooler for it. But anyways, that's another thing is I'm worried about heat on certain CPUs. We need to build in coolers, and how will this thing work? Are the blocks going to come in kits? Like, you can't just buy a CPU. You have to buy a whole set, like CPU, battery, storage, camera, everything. Screen. And that's another thing. Like, what if people have such an old CPU that it can't handle a really high resolution screen that I know that we're going to have on these things? What if the CPU is too demanding on the battery? What then? We need to build in circuits, and I'm sure the developers have thought of this. Okay, I'm sure they're not going to let people put a really weak battery that won't be able to keep up with the CPU they have. I'm sure they won't let them do that. And that's good, because if we let them do that, people will probably do that, break it, and then get mad at whoever manufactured it and say that they were the cause of it. So less tech-savvy people that get their hands on these, I don't know how that's going to be. But still, I really like the idea of phone blocks, but I'm worried that they may not be what we think they're going to be, because, like, people who build enthusiast PCs, like PC enthusiasts, every time a new graphic card comes out, they buy 4 of them. and put them in SLI or Crossfire. They always got to have the best hardware. It's always got to be up to date. It's got to have the lowest temperatures. They don't care about power consumption normally. But still, I'm very, very worried that they're just not going to be what we think they're going to be. I'm worried they're going to be something completely different, and we're not going to know what to do with the older ones. Like, are the older motherboards going to just not be supported anymore? What's going to go on here? We don't know. And another thing is style and cases. Now, I get that cases probably won't be that big of a thing, since the majority of people right now just have cases to decorate their phone, from what I've seen. While there are quite a few people who have cases just to protect the phone. And I'm worried that people aren't going to be able to put cases on them because maybe the case will cover the camera. Maybe the case doesn't fit. Like, maybe you have some thicker components in there, which hopefully that doesn't happen. I like having a smooth back on my phone. And from what Google Project R's website looks like right now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Google will call upon some other third party manufacturers and have them build some parts, but I think that mainly Google's only going to allow licensed partners, I guess that's the only word to use here, licensed partners sell parts for these modular cell phones. Another thing that we should probably build into the CPU is like wireless components like the Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and even cellular modules of the device, which I can't really call them module if they're built into the CPU, but because if we don't do that, then there will be people who just pop in a CPU, battery, RAM, storage, and a screen. And then when they can't link to cellular, they're going to wonder what the heck is up. So, and another thing, is the SIM card going to be a phone block, or is it going to be built into the board? Who knows at this point? Or maybe they're going to try and do away with SIM cards as a whole, and you'll just have to register on like AT&T or Verizon's website, or go to a store and they'll like give the thing a number and you're off. I'm really worried about these. I really hope that the developers cover all corners and that they take as much feedback as they can and run with it. Because I really want phone blocks to be successful, because that would be amazing to just, oh, my battery's dead, and I just opened my bag and there's 3 more fully charged batteries. And I know that there are phones out there like that you can easily swap out the batteries. I know that there are phones out there like that. Or, oh, my storage is full. Let me take out my storage module and put in a new one. Or, oh, a file that I want to, like a movie, for example. A movie I want to watch is on this phone block, but the phone block I have in there has the operating system. Let me put in my second storage module. I'll just take out my camera. Like, I want to be able to have like 2 CPUs in a phone block, or 2 batteries for people who don't care about performance, or they do care about performance, but they use their phone a lot. But they need it to last all day. Like, they're very busy. They're always getting phone calls and whatnot. And they just need their phone to last all day. They can put 2 batteries in there and boom. 2 batteries, storage, and CPU and RAM. Done. That cool. Or 2 cameras. I don't know why, but go for it, I guess. I don't know why you would want 2 cameras in a smartphone, but oh well, people will be people. But anyways, guys, what do you think about phone blocks or modular cell phones? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I'm your local newscaster, Wanderson, signing out.